Hello, friends. Welcome to the Say It Loud podcast. I'm your host, Matt Jones. It's a new year for the podcast. It's 2019. On this episode, this was the last one we recorded of 2018. We invited Nathalie Phan on. She runs onvitalmedia.com. She's been at it for several years. She's been a fixture in the Austin music community. She's focused a lot now on artist licensing and creating a community-based merch store for artists. We were psyched to have her on for our holiday episode. So enjoy that. We're steamrolling right into 2019. We have a whole bunch of guests lined up, so be sure to subscribe for those. If this is your first time listening, thanks. We like to talk Austin music, the business, everybody involved in the community, in the industry. We like to be honest about it, and we like to bullshit. It's fun. So please enjoy this episode with Nat. She's a passionate cook. Did you know that? She dedicates herself to everything that she does. She's got great stories, and she cares a lot about stuff, which makes for a fun podcast guest. Thank you, Nathalie, and thank y'all for listening on vitalmedia.com. Enjoy. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
I think so.
I'm ready now that I'm looking at your wonderful slippers, Matt. Those are... Matt's got some Chewbacca slippers on,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and those things
warm.
are intensely cool.
Never
By
leave
being
home
warm.
with them.
Yes.
Sometimes they startle me because they'll be left around the house or something. And I'll walk around.
Yeah, Brett always tries to pet them. He thinks it's Hoosier sneaking up on him.
Like I'll be like laying on the ground watching TV, and Matt will be on the couch, but he'll like cross his leg or something, do like this, and I'll catch it in my peripherals, and I think it's Hoosier. And I'm like, swat at it or try to pet him. Oh shit, it's your feet.
Cool. Welcome, Nathalie Phan.
Thank you.
Vinyl Music CEO and founder.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the Say It Loud podcast. I'm Matt. We've got Brett here,
Hello.
Brian,
Hello.
and Joe.
Hey.
And Joe and Nathalie, you guys go pretty far back, right, to the Hilltoppers.
Go to the Hilltop days. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was one grade?
1 year older than me.
Yeah.
I had started a radio station when I was a freshman,
Mm-hmm.
and Joe was part of the original team, the OG team.
That was awesome.
Topper
Yeah.
Radio.
Mm-hmm. And I had
Here we are doing a podcast together now.
Who was
It was
else?
awesome.
Who else was on that team? Do I know anybody?
Was Alex stuck on that team?
He was after I
After
left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a
Good
lot
dude.
younger and he's
Yeah.
still in school.
There's a few people who were in it after we left, but as far as
Nice.
that original team goes, that first round, that was cool.
yeah.
was
It
that's
was like
awesome.
a
Part of that.
strong 60-person team.
Yeah, it was great.
He worked early with you in the early years of On Vinyl, didn't he, Alex?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. Yeah, he
Yeah.
and I were partners, and we went down making a blog together and focusing on local music. And then he ended up leaving, now owns Scratch House, and I'm doing the whole licensing thing. And I opened up an artist's merch shop.
Nice. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool,
I don't think
cool.
I knew that Alex owned Scratch House.
I
That's
didn't know.
pretty awesome. Like he was running sound when we were playing there.
Yeah.
I just thought he got a gig running sound. That's awesome that he owns it.
Him
Wow.
and Brody Elkins,
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool.
and
Oh,
I think
shit.
one other partner owned Scratch
It's a
House.
cool spot.
Yeah.
Man.
Heck yeah.
Before we get too far, so yeah, On Vital Media has kind of changed over, what has it been, 4 or 5 years?
4 years,
now?
4 years or so. Yeah.
So you've kind of, it's evolved over time, but as it stands
Yeah.
right now, at the end of 2018, what is your kind of elevator pitch when you're telling somebody about what On Vinyl Media is?
Our whole goal is to get local music out into local businesses and have the two communities work together, because a lot of the time they don't talk to each other. So we provide licensed local music for local businesses to use in their store. But we also provide other resources for artists, and we provide like a really cool comprehensive music internship program every semester with 4 or 5 students, and they have 15 weeks and they go through every week meeting a different person in the local music industry. And then December 1st, we just opened up an artist merch shop for local artists to sell their merch online. So that started December 1st. We launched. We have currently over 50 bands that are participating and over 150 items that you can buy online from the bands.
And that includes Fair City Fire, right?
Hell yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
you guys on there. Jackie Benson, Born Again Virgins, some of our
Sweet
podcast
Spirit.
friends. Otis, I think,
Yeah.
is on there. Coattails.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of local artists that we
Yeah.
know.
Walker Lukens was on there too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think when you guys first partnered, it may have been a show at, I don't know if it was Hotel Vegas or one of those next to Volstead or something.
It was
like
Volstead.
Volstead,
Yeah.
I remember
Volstead,
that.
Crawfish
Born Again
boil.
Virgins,
Crawfish
yeah,
boil.
Crawfish boil.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
that was the
Oh,
first
man.
time we met. Yeah,
That was when we
Anna.
met Born Again Virgins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that was like not South by, but it felt like it. The vibe.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
Just like daytime, a lot of people hanging out.
Crawfish boil.
Crawfish.
Yeah,
Something
Boozing.
interesting and fun.
It was
and
cool.
the Hunter Sharp boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to old
Hunter
man them.
Yeah, that's a great
That
one.
time I remember you were doing a lot of writing, like a blog, or it was like concert reviews or albums, and it seemed at that point more of an online magazine. Was that? how it
Yeah,
started
totally.
out?
So that's when Alex Duck and I were partnering together, and we came up with the blog, and that was still when we were both in college as well, and it was just really cool because I had this experience and background in radio and journalism, and that's sort of the career path that I wanted to go down since I was majoring in something that would help me with that. But then after a little bit of thought, I saw a lot more need in licensing infrastructure in Austin, and so my idea was to help artists come up with a way where they can license their music to local businesses.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you can do that through onvinylmedia.com, right?
Yeah.
Artists can submit, or just, submit at onvinylmedia.com?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
We can reach out to
Yeah.
you, or you can submit. Right now, I'm like a one-person team, so it takes me a little bit to go through submissions and all of that, but it's pretty cool. I get a lot of help from interns and whatnot.
So for a listener that might not know much about that world, like, how would you describe what that means, licensing your music to a local business?
So basically, I think step one, always as an artist, regardless of whether or not you're interested in the world of licensing, is knowing what your rights are as a content creator. So coming up with any sort of piece of original work, you have 100% rights to it if you were, the author of said work. If you worked with someone else, obviously have some sort of agreement before you go into making your song, because later on in the licensing process, it makes things a lot easier to get a hold of rights owners and figure out how much everyone's getting paid. So with that being said, when you're contacting a company like On Vinyl to get your works licensed out and used in retail stores, always have in mind what your rights are as an artist, look up what copyright laws are, and make sure that you're just not getting screwed over on paper.
But you're kind of doing the legwork in many ways for these artists.
Yeah.
You've studied it. I'm sure it's not super exciting or fun to learn it all.
I'm
but-
as close to being like an entertainment attorney without actually going through law school.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take legal advice from me, and I wouldn't give any legal advice to anyone. But if you wanted to learn more about the world of licensing, I could definitely lend a hand.
That's really cool.
And the local businesses can just go onto the website there, and it has, I don't know if it says subscribe, but they can, there's the different rates for whatever per month.
Yeah.
Depending on, if you get ads or no ads. But you also, who actually does, creates these playlists? Do you do it yourself as well?
I do the playlists, and the whole blog thing came in really handy because we had to literally work with over 500 artists through the years and do reviews of all of their work, and so I sort of have a pretty comprehensive idea of pretty much every band in the last 4 or 5 years that has come up on my radar. I kind of know what genre of music, and it also comes in handy because on Sunday, coming up, December 16th is when I'm having the first time that I'm going to be out there selling merch for the artists. So I'll be at Native Hostel from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. selling artist merch. And what's cool about that is people aren't going to buy merch from artists that they've never heard before. But what I'm trying to do is get people interested in actually discovering local music. So I'll ask them, what are 3 or 4 bands you've been listening to? Let me see if I can put together or give you a couple of recommendations.
Can we try that right now? Can you pitch me
Yeah.
a t-shirt? All right.
Sure.
Oh, who is local music? I don't know any of these people. Why do I want this shirt?
I
Give you
think,
the hard sell, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's
I don't even
consumer.
know what this
Matt's
place
tough.
is. Yeah,
Matt's
yeah.
Matt's
He's
a tough
consumer
guy.
one. Consumer one.
I'll tell you what I like. I like Coolio. I like Guns N' Roses. And I like Mariah Carey.
That
What do you recommend?
it's a very broad range of artists.
I'm very.
Sounds like you're
I'm ve-
interested in a little
very
bit of
picky,
everything.
yeah. No, I'm very picky. Yeah.
Specifically, only like those 3 bands.
Yeah.
Do you have a band for us? Is there a band out there in Austin
Sweet
that
Spirit.
fits it?
Sweet Spirit.
Sweet
Yeah.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Sweet
It's a
Spirit.
good choice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I feel like that would be a good choice for anyone who really likes rock
Coolio,
and roll,
Mariah Carey, and
pop. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty safe bet to say that
They
you
got a
would
little
enjoy
bit of
Sweet
everything
Spirit.
going on with
Yeah.
that. We caught their set at ACL, actually,
Yeah.
on the BMI stage.
Yeah.
They had a really good time slot, too.
And you can find their merch in our store.
Yeah.
there you go.
I'll take
badass.
3.
Hard sell.
I'm actually a small.
Hard sell.
Let me try on the small first. Cool. How did you come to have this interest in music? I mean, you started the radio station. Did you always have a vision of doing more with music, or was it just were you just nerdy about music?
I think the real passion started with journalism and then grew into music. So when I first entered college, literally the first class that I had, it was an 8 a.m. class. It was terrible. And I sat next to the person who would later become the co-founder of this radio station. He and I had just started talking and coincidentally had chatted over Facebook like a couple of months before we actually met about starting a radio station, just happened to sit next to each other. And his name's Austin Marshall. He now lives in New York City doing really big things.
Yeah.
And
Shout out.
basically, you know, I had the intention of more of like an NPR route. And then he brought in the music side of things and had, you know, just shared his infectious love for music with me. And together we were just like a badass team. And we had no idea what the fuck we were doing. We just went out there and we were just like, well, they don't have a radio station. We want to make one. And I think we can get a couple of people together that are interested in this. And we had no idea what a business plan was or whether the university would even allow for something like this, which they weren't very happy about in the very beginning.
Really? Why not?
They were very protective of their image.
And this is
Marketing
St.
wise?
Edward's.
Private,
Yeah.
private Catholic college,
A great university. I'd totally recommend it. But they were very protective of, like, they were scared of what the students would say on air, and they were afraid that it would deter parents mostly from sending their kids to the school. And I mean, they weren't wrong. But somehow Austin and I had put together a whole 30-page plan. We had thought of every question that they would throw us, and we put in pretty much an answer to every question in the plan and presented it to them and got it up and running. And we knew that if they would have said no, we would have gone a different path. We would have brought it outside of the university. We would have started an organization that was like outside of St. Ed's and just gotten the student support anyway. But we would have liked to do it under the umbrella of the school. So that's what we ended up doing. And Joe was a part of that.
Well, that was one of the hosts.
That's
I was
cool.
a host. I was a DJ,
That's
but
awesome.
I was not
I would
the
love
founder.
to listen to
Joe,
some of those.
Did you live with Alex Beffert?
I didn't live with Alex Beffert, but I would go over there all the time because I was best friends with everyone that he lived with, and we would listen to all of our shows because it was me, Alex, and then it was Greg. It was Beffert, and then me, and then Greg would play on a Thursday night, and we would all go there and just listen to the shows.
Here's a fun fact is that we had no resources at all. The school gave us nothing, and all we had was my SUV, the ability to drive out to the middle of nowhere, Texas, grab a bunch of free wood pallets that we found on Craigslist, come back with it, get in, we were in the parking lot of one of the parking lots at St. Ed's, and we used someone's FJ Cruiser, which they don't make anymore, that had a power strip in the back, used that to plug in power tools to build a fucking stage, because the school had one but didn't want to give it to us for some reason, and we did it all the night before we launched the station.
That's some
Wow.
hustle.
But then,
Didn't I end up with that stage? Who
no,
ended up with that
Alex
stage?
Beffert brought it back to his house, and then his roommate made a chicken coop out of it.
Nice.
Yes, that's right. Nate made a chicken.
Love it. I love it.
Dude, that's
great.
awesome.
You guys
I'm
know
still
Nate? You remember
bitter.
Nate?
I don't know if I know
I
To
Nate.
this
think you guys
day.
have met him once, but no, he
Yeah.
was there at one of our shows the other night.
Oh, okay,
Blind
cool.
Pig, the brown dude.
Yeah, I know
He
you're
made
talking
a
about.
chicken coop out
Yeah.
of that stage, and I think you came around looking for it, and then we were like, he was like, made a chicken coop out of it. You were like, what? This is our stage.
He was like, but you get free eggs for like the rest of your life, man.
oh no,
Fair trade.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, fresh, as fresh as can be.
Oh,
So what kind of reach did the station have? I mean, did you just put it online, or was there airwaves, FM airwaves?
It was
How did work?
online for sure.
Live 365.
Yeah, we started off of a platform called Live 365, which used to be around, and I think they died out for a little bit, but then came back up. But they allowed us to, create the station and license everything through them. And we became like one of the top 10 stations at some point, and I think we were one of the top 2, like less than a year after we started. And then we got nominated for an MTV Woody Award.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
No kidding.
That's awesome.
Which just happens to be in the city of Austin
Yeah.
at South by.
That's awesome. Did
So
y'all
that
get
was
it?
pretty cool. No, I think Baylor or something. Something
Hey,
some
so
random
you're still
school.
up there. Man, that's
I guess
awesome.
so.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. Congratulations.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
yeah.
super fucking cool.
So yeah, one thing I know about doing college radio interviews and stuff in my past is there's a lot of rules. I've found like, were there a lot of rules with that since it was online radio? Because I mean, when we did what was it, Texas State?
Yeah, San Marcos.
Yeah,
I forget the name of the station.
yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was really cool to get to do that. But there was like,
KTSW.
May
Yeah.
have been. It was a beautiful facility.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
incredible.
When we showed up, one of the first things they said was like, you can't swear, you can't, you had to push, you can't like try to sell anything, like just like a lot of kind of specific rules about
you
that.
can talk about your show, but don't talk about the door cover or just like
What?
yeah,
That's silly.
something like
There wasn't really a whole lot of interviews though, like in the beginning. It was a lot of people
Okay.
like playing music.
It was,
Was
yeah,
there?
every show was different. You usually had 1 or 2 hosts, and they could play whatever music they wanted, but there could be no explicit content at all, whether it was an interview or whether it was in the music itself, anytime before 10 or after 6.
It's like FCC rules, basically. Yeah.
So we didn't have to comply with FCC law, but
Okay.
our advisor told us to, because just in case we wanted to get an actual tower, which we never did, and just to make the school happy, because those were just the terms that they wanted us to comply with, because they didn't know
That
what
makes
the
sense.
difference between terrestrial and internet radio was.
it's smart.
It's amazing how difficult it is to not swear when you're told not to on something like that. It's just like right on the tip of your tongue, and you're just
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't usually even say that, but you're just like, but I want to so bad.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So you were saying you came from like the journalism. You were interested in NPR style radio. Did you do a show like that? A talk radio show?
I did a sex and politics show.
Was it locally? I mean, was it based around St. Ed's, or was it more expansive? I mean, were there any shout outs or call outs to anybody on campus specifically, or like did you ever do like, was there ever like a police blotter or something like that about the campus or anything like that?
There was a police blotter, but it was on the website.
It was in the paper.
Ah.
Yeah. No, we never did like a campus news. Honestly, like campus is so boring that like I don't
There's no
think I
school
would,
spirit in that place. Like,
and I didn't want some sort of like gossip column or anything starting, and it was whatever you wanted to talk about. The whole concept was based upon the students saying whatever they wanted to say and expressing how they felt about anything at all. So I did one about sexual positivity and awareness and politics, and how they kind of and I played like indie pop, and it was more of like a talk show, but it happened at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday
Jesus.
Nice.
because I had to run the station as well, and the quality content just wasn't happening. So I was like, 3 a.m. sounds like a good time to play this when everyone's asleep, but
Did you ever have people listening to it there?
Oh yeah,
That's cool,
totally.
yeah.
I totally did. And it was all pre-recorded too, so I mean,
gotcha.
a lot of the shows were pre-recorded, and then you get to edit out swear words and all sorts of stuff. But it was fun. I had interviews on that show with a couple of different people, just like students, just talking about how they felt about certain things, and what it means to be sexually aware, and like, just being open about one's sexuality. And St. Ed's is a really open place, so it was a great school to do that at.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your show, Joe?
I did a jazz program. It was called the Java.
Oh.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
It was,
Get out of here.
it was called the Java, and it came on at Thursdays at like 10 or 11 or something like that.
Did you have like a intro that you did every time?
No, I didn't. I just
Or
came
like
on.
a
and was
sign off?
I don't think I put any music in the beginning. I just like came on and was just like, "Hello, you're listening to the Java. Welcome," or just something ridiculous. And I would just play jazz tunes the whole time.
I need this.
Oh,
in
it's
my
great.
life.
I think there's files of it somewhere.
It's perfect.
And
for a
then for
drummer.
Halloween, I made it the spooky, and it was a bunch of jazz Halloween tunes like Monster Mash 3 times.
Oh boy.
It was great.
It's good. That's what the people need.
I like Joe's show.
That's awesome.
But then it fell on the other side of like a punk show, and then like a trip. Like what was Greg's, like the gooey? Remember his
Oh my
it was,
gosh, some of them were so weird.
Mhm.
Gooey.
It was called Burn the Midnight Gooey, and it was obviously like a
Okay.
reference to like Wax, right, at the
Yeah.
time. And he would, I forget what he would play. It would be
Obviously.
like
Some weird psychedelic shit,
Obviously.
man.
yeah, it was like Trip or
That
like,
dude
it
was, like,
trip hop
far
or-
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it was a good block of music.
Excellent. I'd love to get some recordings of that.
Yes.
If we can find
We'll
it.
find
Oh,
some
no.
archives.
We can find it. We should definitely put it at the end of this episode.
I don't have it anymore. Do you have all the
I
all the
only have
shows somewhere?
mine. I only have a couple of mine that will. Sometimes when I shuffle my music playlists, just randomly, one voice insert will come out of nowhere, like the voice of God, and just this is Nat at night,
Oh my
and it's
God. Yeah,
so
Nat at
fucking
night.
weird for me to hear my own voice and not expect it.
And it was great. I mean, Austin, they did a great job. You guys had every hour full of somebody's show, right? Or almost every
there
hour
were like
full
30 programs at some
Yeah,
point.
that's great.
Every hour that everyone's awake
That's really cool. That's a cool opportunity for students to get to just run a show. Like, what a cool thing. I
Mhm.
mean,
yeah, and it inspired on vinyl too, later on, because I had to learn all the licensing stuff, and I was like, well, I can either just take all this knowledge on licensing and throw it in the trash, or I can start an actual business with it. So
Business.
business.
You seem to be, just based on what's out there, really nerdy about business in terms of you developed a culture. There's mission statements, visions. I'm sure
yeah.
you've made a business plan or
Oh, yeah.
several. Is it important to you to do the right steps, or it's kind of like everything you would learn in an MBA in a way, and you're taking all those steps?
I guess so. I never really thought of it that way. I'm not a very methodical person. I'm sort of scatterbrained sometimes, but there are processes, there are things that I always do all the time just because they've worked, and I don't see a reason in not doing them, because if they worked the first time, they're going to work probably the second time. So I always come up with a mission and values, and St. Ed's being so liberal artsy kind of taught me you got to have a purpose, and you've got to do something other than just for money, because if you're just doing it for money, then you're not going to end up in a good place, and you're not going to be guided by values that are very important, and it's going to be lost, and your culture is going to suck.
Boom.
So
St. Ed's mission statement in a nutshell.
pretty much, yeah. That was word by word,
Yeah,
word
I
for
think
word
so.
what the St. Ed's mission statement was. So that's sort of just what I learned in day one of going to business school, was just come up with a mission, come up with values, stick to your guns, and, always stand up for what you think is right.
Well, I guess if you are disorganized, having all those things in place helps you stay organized.
Oh, yeah.
Always understanding what your purpose is.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, speaking of values too, I don't know if we mentioned that with the local merch shop, that 50% of the profits go to Sims and Ham.
Yeah,
Which is very cool. Yeah.
That's
right.
awesome.
So how it works is we've had artists come up to us and ask if, we could put it up on the store, or we actually reached out to the first 50, and Fair City Fire was one of those 50.
Woo.
And what we wanted to do was, you set a minimum price, and then we'll mark it up just a little bit. So if it's $20, then we'll make it $25 on the website or something, and we'll keep the difference. You get the original $20, and then the $5 is split between us and Ham and Sims.
Cool.
Yeah, that is cool, because it's kind of a bitch to set up a online shop on a website for people, or setting up your own shopping cart thing. So it's
know.
nice to have the outlet for local musicians.
Yeah, there was, I've sold merch for a lot of different bands, just being in weird situations, like either managing them or just being, a girlfriend in the band. And I was just like, I can do this shit. I can do it online. And I just liked meeting people and getting people really interested in merch, because one of the things that I noticed for the bands was, even if you did have a free hand after your show, during the show you're up on stage, so you definitely can't. And even if you could, musicians are just not good at selling your music. You're just creators, and you're nothing more than just creators.
You're right.
It's awkward though, right? Because I feel like if I made something truly valuable like that, I'd have a hard time describing it correctly, because I don't want to like brag too much about it. But it's like, dude, this shit's fire. It'd be weird to hear that from a musician that recorded an album, because it's like, well, duh. Of course you think so. You've just spent like your whole 3 months in the studio making this thing. So
It's like the answer, like, oh, what does your band sound like? It's like, I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to embellish,
like,
but you don't want to undersell.
Yeah, a band, including myself, like on stage, like talking between songs. Sometimes it's like everything's going well, and then it comes to that moment where it's like, I should try to sell, at least mention the merch, and like it's like that gets awkward for some reason. I don't know why. It shouldn't be.
Stuff you can buy it.
Well, we never
by
said
the
our.
way, buy a koozie from us. They're $5.
We're terrible at setting our merch up. We always forget to take it out of the little treasure chest that we have. It's always closed on the front of the stage, and like halfway through the set, we're like, "Oh shit!"
It's usually when they
And then
say
it
you
just
can go
becomes
buy
a
merch.
joke.
It's like, you can go buy
People
merch.
are like,
No.
"What's in the box?" Like, don't you worry about it. That's
Yeah,
stay away from the box.
yeah. Don't don't go near the box.
Whatever you do, just
Yeah.
don't go near the box.
Yeah, after a killer set, you guys aren't like, well, let's go out there and reinforce our brand. Let's get out there. Let's make sure we say Fair City Fire 5 times to each person. Let's get it in their heads.
Yeah.
Recommend her.
That'd be
It's nice
great.
to be, man,
I mean,
yeah.
if we could do that.
Well, it is
but
nice
we
to
just
have
don't. Yeah.
a third party doing that.
Yeah,
You know?
an unbiased opinion selling your merch for you, even though wink wink we're like best friends.
Well, that's what makes it cool.
Don't tell
you
the
know?
people.
On Vinyl seems to be this, community thing. Obviously it's local, but it seems to have everybody's best interests at heart, right?
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, whenever it comes to business in music, things get sometimes they're a little shady if artists don't necessarily trust you off the bat, and you have to build that relationship up. And I think we've done a really good job of that, just because from the beginning, we've never taken a dime from artists ever. And we've always paid for artists to be at our shows. And, we just try to keep that relationship up and lead by example, because a lot of businesses should always pay the bands for performing or providing any sort of service, just as you would.
You're always showing face too. Like you're always going to shows. Like you're always at the shows.
Yeah, I
So-
try to as much as I can. It's been kind of hard because there's just a bunch of travel happening in my personal life. My sister's having a baby, and I have to fly to San Diego and do all this stuff. But it's been fun, and I go as much as I can.
I think that's a way to win over an artist.
Yeah.
Go to their shows a few times.
Yeah,
and they'll be
right.
like,
Are you still
Oh, man.
managing Smile?
Yeah, I am, and it's been really fun. They're recording right now, and they're coming up with a couple of new songs that they're already performing, and
Cool.
they'll be releasing early next year.
Hell yeah.
I saw a video of theirs. Is it Capable? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very captivating. Like it really was. Like between the female vocalists doing there wasn't a whole lot of. There was a lot of sound, but not necessarily by instruments. It was strange. Like he wasn't playing the guitar. It was very sparse, like here and there. And then the lead guitarist was very spacey, but it was a huge sound. And I was like, just couldn't stop watching it. I was just staring. I was like,
That's
this isn't.
one of the most popular songs that they have, but
Yeah.
they don't even have a studio recording of it.
It was excellent.
It was a good recording though.
Yeah.
One of the things, it was actually funny because I went on a small tour with them, and there's this girl, she was 16 or something, who went to their Denton show because she had seen this YouTube video and she really wanted to see the band. And I had never seen anything like that with a local band of that size.
Yeah.
This is like, this girl discovered you on YouTube, got her parents to come with her, or her aunt and her uncle or something came with her. And she was like obsessed with the band. She was like, this is my favorite band ever, just because of like a couple of YouTube videos that she saw. And it was like very cool.
That's
she
awesome.
wanted to buy one of the t-shirts that they had, but they had like tiny little like penises on them.
Oh no.
So one of the recommendations I gave them was come up with more PG merch.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's funny.
Was she able to did any other shirt?
It actually came up a lot during the tours. Like, some of the teenagers were like afraid of buying it because their parents would be like, what the fuck are you buying?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess. That makes sense.
Is that a tiny dick?
Yeah.
I always tell them it's an ice cream cone because it's covered by hair. And all.
Oh, no, there's hair there too. It's like all detailed.
Good lord.
I gotta
Oh,
see
no.
one of these shirts.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
It doesn't look all
yeah.
that bad. It's just like an alien thing with like
Is that all the
fuzz.
shirts they have? The only one? Is that the only one? The shirt they have?
Yeah, it's the one shirt that they have. They used to have others, but they sold
Well,
out
I
of
guess we
them.
can't do the dick shirts that we wanted to do.
Throw it.
But
yeah.
green light those
Scratch-
ice cream shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I've actually heard of the Smile. I guess I've heard of the name, but I never saw them or anything. But
Our posters are together underneath the Lamar Bridge still.
oh, nice.
Cause they had a show like a week after our like April show.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about the
Show
The
posters.
album release?
Yeah, like the album release posters are still
Those
underneath.
posters are still
That
there?
might
There's
not be
there's still
anymore.
like a Smile poster there too. Like,
Wow.
cause so Smile came around and they did their posters a week before, and then I went around and I thought their show was done, and I accidentally like went over one, and then one of them got ripped so they could show the Smile poster again. I was like, oh, I feel bad now.
They've got a ton
But
of them.
then they're still there. There's still a couple Smile ones under there, and a couple like April release show album
I've
release
got some
shows.
sitting in my office right now, just waiting to be plastered.
nice.
Did you ever play any instruments? Anything? Did you ever
Oh
try?
man, I wish.
Did you do some karaoke at all?
Oh
Anything like
no,
that?
that's even worse. Oh my god, give me a guitar instead.
Really?
No, I started off playing guitar when I was like young, or actually I learned a little bit of piano too. So I got started with piano when I was really young, and then discontinued for some reason, and then picked up a guitar and then started fiddling around with that. But I never got good enough to like really do anything with it. Like my real passion is just like cooking. So I'm always in the kitchen whenever I'm not at a show or something. I'm always like creating concepts and menu items and all sorts of stuff.
That's Nat's Underground, right?
That's
Yeah,
underground.
that's right.
It's
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah.
So
You
what-
do so many things. Oh
I
my
know.
god.
I was kind of laughing about that because it's like you probably just can't do anything and just enjoy it. You have to like make a whole club around it, or you like build this new enterprise around it. Like everything's this official. Like if you love something, you're bringing everybody with you. You're starting a new club or a new
Yeah,
a group
I
or
guess
something
so.
like that.
That is really, that is something that I tend to do. Just because I hate doing things by myself. I always need like a social aspect to it.
Right.
So organizing people to help me with it and getting them to be passionate about the same mission is just, awesome. It's an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Nats Underground though is truly just mine, and it's sort of like being able to express myself and being a creative without being like in music, because I can't play many instruments, and but what I can do is cook. Like I can't bake, but I can definitely cook. I can burn like
Chefs
pre-made
are
cookies. I
chefs are
swear.
artists too. I forgot where I went somewhere, but they were like, putting artists in one, and they put chefs in there. And I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So Nats Underground is all about creating a culture of storytelling and being able to do that through food and also music. So at all of the events that I have, I always invite a band to play in my backyard.
Dude, killer.
So is that going to be like an
Awesome.
open to the public type of thing, or do you keep it smaller?
I
How's
keep
that
it
gonna
pretty
work?
small. Yeah, I can't cook for more than like
Right.
20 people without it
Losing
not
your
tasting
mind.
very good.
Yeah.
when is
A
the
lot of
next
work.
one here? Do you have another one planned to you?
I'm gonna be traveling quite a bit during the holidays, and then during February I have to go back and help my sister with her baby. But probably the next one's gonna be in January, and we're trying to find a space that's outside of my house. So
Okay, yeah,
like
yeah.
an unconventional space. We just have to build a kitchen somehow,
Hmm.
which is not
That's
very
Which,
easy.
yeah, which
Yeah.
definitely is a code thing, right?
Yeah.
I know the
So-
chicken coop you can turn into a
A stage.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So what anything on the horizon in terms of like what you're going to be trying to cook? Anything new that you haven't done before?
I
you
tend
looking
to
forward to?
obsess over certain ingredients until I can perfect them. It started with steak, so I can make a mean fucking steak.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I started doing octopus a lot, so making like pulpo.
Oh, I see your stories. Your Insta stories.
It's so gross to other people because it's like this slimy thing, but it's just such a beautiful creature, and it's actually really cheap too to make octopus. You have to know how to like cook it right and get it tender. And then I just keep going at it. The first time's usually terrible, and then the second time I get a little bit better, and by the fifth time I make something, then it's somewhat refined.
Where do you shop for octopus?
That is a great question because there are not very many places in Austin that sell octopus.
I believe that, yeah.
The seafood.
Isn't
North
there-
Lamar, or something?
Well, isn't there a new, like, didn't they come out with something, I guess it's not super new, but maybe last year, like this huge, I don't know if it's a grocery store by terms, but they have all those weird fishes, like fish you can buy to make
Mongers?
sushi. Maybe. I can't remember the name. I just remember it kind of, people in Austin kind of freaking out about it. Like a buzz about it.
I usually just go to Central Market and buy like baby octopi.
Okay.
The larger ones, I play around with the larger ones. Sometimes you can find them at HEB. You can always order it in too. Like you can call them and be like, order some octopus. I'm going to be there on
we're gonna
Monday.
make that octopus.
Yeah, they don't have octopus at my HEB. That's
No.
The
I'll
one
meet you.
on
Family
like
pack.
41st, the HEB on 41st has octopus,
okay.
and the Fiesta across the street from it
Do you
has
have to,
Oh
like,
yeah.
do you have to
know
meet-
The Fiesta's
Yeah.
got it.
Do you have to meet somebody by the loading docks out back for this?
Right? You're like, you got that
Hey,
They're
octopus.
just in like
got-
plastic bags.
You got the shit?
And they're usually like $10 or so, like at most.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And super
That's
cheap.
awesome. Nice.
Accessible.
Whole
Yeah, but does it
giant
have
octopus.
chicken feet?
What?
Our HEB just has chicken feet wrapped up in something. Like, you ever see those?
Oh,
It's
yeah. I
great.
see it, yeah.
Chicken
God.
feet is delicious.
really?
Oh my god.
Tell me how.
I mean,
Dim sum places, the chicken feet, if it's on the menu, you gotta order it because
Really?
it will change your fucking
How do you eat
world.
it? Do you just eat it like a regular,
They
like a French fry?
Just like a foot. You eat it like you'd eat any old
they
foot.
usually cut the parts down a little bit so that they're a little bit more manageable, but you basically have to chew around the bone.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
isn't it mostly bone?
It's all
The
them.
cartilage, though, is the beautiful part of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
stay away from the chicken feet. Usually. Because they come in a family pack over there at our age. And
Yeah,
there's like,
buy a
it's
certain
like
amount.
47 chicken feet. And like, who am I going to serve all
That
these
is a
chicken
little
feet to?
much.
You're gonna
Yeah.
make all these chicken feet for.
You can get that, but you can't get potato salad at the deli.
Yeah.
They don't even have a real deli there.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
It's very
Is there anything
strange.
we missed with you as far as like what you're doing?
No, I think that's just about it.
So 2019 on vinyl. I guess the push is the local Austin merch. I'm sure you have some other things in mind.
Ah,
You're just
no.
gonna keep working on that, getting more. You're gonna try to
Yeah,
make
the
more
merch
artist
is what I'm
connections,
mostly focused on right now, and just trying to get people out to the store. And it's more, I know that artists and their friends are definitely going to be interested in something like this, but I want to go beyond that and try to get people outside of the immediate like music community to actually invest in the music itself. So trying to find people who aren't usually going to the Red River shows and Hotel Vegas like every Tuesday night. You know, people outside of that where they have money that they want to spend and they have date nights to go on. They just don't know where to go. And if we can do anything to help them make that decision to go out to Empire or to go out to Barracuda or, you know, the Mohawk, then I want to be a part of that experience. And I want to get people buying merch from artists.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is
So
that something you do? Because I know Airbnb started doing that recently, where you can
Yeah.
do events basically. If you're, do you know Chris Petrovka? He
yeah,
does the,
yeah, of course. I
music.
was on his podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, nice.
So he does that too, where like we'll put up a night and someone will
It's called,
respond
like,
and say,
Airbnb
hey,
experiences or something.
we're in town, we don't really know what to do, and then he'll take them out, almost like like what you do with the tours,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just in a smaller setting.
That's right. He does do that. Those are
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have not done that yet, but I can give a pretty mean speakeasy tour
There you go.
I believe
around
that.
Austin.
Absolutely.
That'd be
Other
awesome.
than that, though, like I'd love to take some people out, see some local music. I
I'll-
was more thinking of bringing this merch service, like physical service, to farmers markets and other places,
Cool.
being out
Yeah.
there and actually getting people who are buying, who care about obviously what they put in their body, but also are probably looking for other ways to enhance their life too.
Yes.
And investing in local music's just one of those things.
Yes. Find those people with the disposable Sunday morning income.
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly.
I know you're involved with Kids in a New Groove too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all the
just
things.
like I am. How about that?
Just like Brian is over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a great organization.
Have y'all seen each other on like?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, like at all the things.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great organization. Also a really great way to just get involved on a voluntary level, you know?
Absolutely.
That's just a great organization. I don't see myself having kids, but if I ever do, it'd be adopting a kid because I can't go through childbirth. I just won't do it.
You heard it here first.
It looks like
Everyone.
that. There's a,
She will not do it.
Yeah.
we have a,
You could give a
Yeah, there's a
we have a baby and model cervix here,
Yeah.
basically,
and
to make you feel comfortable.
baby
And-
doll is going.
Sarah's a
This is a
labor
very
and
interesting
delivery
room.
nurse.
Oh, okay.
So she was giving a presentation at she was running this yoga class,
Okay.
but it was for it was prenatal yoga class.
I didn't
So
know
she
that
was-
babies already come out with a onesie on. It's
Yeah.
good to know.
Babies are, if babies were just a little bit smarter, I bet they could take over the world. They can hold their
Yeah.
breath for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Whoa! How did you find that out?
I watched this YouTube video of someone dunking
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
dunking their baby in water just to show that they're waterproof to some extent. And it's like, so yeah, they've been in your body for so long. Of course, they can hold their breath for like.
And
Do
there's no hair on their body. The body
You
just
know-
beads off the water.
When
Baby,
they, well, whenever,
baby dunking is something we've never talked about on the show. So
It's a first.
so when you wait,
podcast first.
do they just automatically like hold on to their breath like just naturally?
Yeah.
Like when you put them under the water?
Yeah, they just that's just what
And
they
they can
do.
get to their back. They can float on their back. They kind of instinctively know.
Well, this
right?
person is like actually like dunking. This
Right.
So
baby.
thank goodness they're not all smart because for the first 2 years of their life, they're dumber than your house dog.
You hear that, Hoosier?
Yeah.
So your dog
Yeah,
has
Hoosier.
the comprehension skills of about like a 2-year-old
Yeah.
human. So,
So how do babies tap out?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like how do you know when it's too long under the water? Do they just tap on their shoulder or something? How do they do?
Yeah.
yeah, I just YouTube baby underwater all
baby
day.
dunking,
Yeah, baby dunking.
Baby ducky.
Yeah.
Learned
How
something.
to?
baby dunks. That was my basketball name.
Cool. Well, since we learned that, let's
So stupid. Too. I like it though.
let's do a round of the simple truth.
Oh, love this
Let's
game.
dispense some more knowledge. So this is where we go around in a circle. Everybody can take part, but I'll ask each one of you a question. We can think tank it. I'm going to give you some questions that have been asked on Yahoo Answers, which is, a hub of some important questions. But some people are just maybe misunderstand some things, but it's our job to help them understand. I try to do a holiday edition.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, sweet holiday
Okay,
question.
cool.
Got to get in the spirit.
Actually, it's a Christmas edition.
Mr. Christmas over here.
Yeah.
So you were the
Ooh.
voice, the answer for these folks.
Merry
Wow.
fucking Christmas.
Like the other day, we had one that was like, "I cut off my finger. What do I do?" And we're like, "He's waiting right now.
Yeah.
Like this person is waiting for this answer on
Oh my
Yahoo right
gosh.
now."
All right. Let's start with Brett here. Xmas ideas for 8-year-old girl? She likes
Yikes.
His face,
She
ladies and
likes-
gentlemen.
she likes LOL dolls, LOL dolls, slime, Descendants, has an iPad and her own cell phone.
I would recommend the Sweet Spirit T-shirt.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, great answer.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
I guess
Where can you get this T-shirt?
You can find it on vinyl.com.
On Vinyl Media.
On vinylmedia.com.
Mina.
Backslash store. Right?
Media.
I
Media.
wonder, if you already if
Media.
you've already given
Media.
your 8-year-old an iPad and a cell phone, like they're done.
What more
They're
does she-
Yeah, what do
you
you
just
give-
have to give them
Yeah.
the URL, and then
Yeah.
you're all set.
She could go buy them
Yeah.
probably with your card or something.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, just give the kid your credit card.
Right?
And
Yeah.
one website.
Their own credit card?
Yeah.
I'm sure she already has. How do you think she buys apps on that iPad? It's already synced to it. It's got to
Ooh.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no more getting jump ropes for her. Like,
No.
Yeah.
after you
She's
get the
on the
iPad.
outside.
Oh
Could
man,
always-
I'd be so disappointed if I were like getting a Christmas present from my parents, and it was a fucking jump rope.
At
Yeah.
8?
Well, if you didn't know any better, yeah,
You'd be like, damn it.
And I would have an iPad or something.
yeah, you already, yeah, she's already ruined. Yeah, so yeah,
Ruined.
clothes,
Yeah.
sweet merch.
Yep, sweet merch.
Sweet
Excellent.
sweet
That's
spirit
a great
merch.
answer.
You guys have like a favorite or like most interesting gift you got as a kid?
Ooh.
That might be too much of a
Oh,
side.
I remember in the similar vein.
Yeah.
I remember I wanted a Nintendo growing up. And it was like my last present, so it was like I was expecting, this is it. This is gonna be it. And I opened it up, and it was just like a Max Box car wash.
I remember that. And you could like hit the button
You
on
could,
top
the
and it's
water
like,
would come out. And it
Yeah.
was
That's
great.
It was cool, but it was frustrating for it not to be a Nintendo.
yeah.
I gotta say that.
It was like the same size box and all that
It
stuff.
was,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, Elisa's gonna love that.
Yeah, I like.
I'm glad. I needed to stay humble though. Then
Yeah.
I got a Game Boy maybe the next year or something.
Oh,
And
nice.
I never
That's
stopped
good.
playing it, so they had the right idea in mind.
Yeah,
I think.
Game Boy's wonderful,
Yeah.
and you haven't stopped playing games, ever
Ever
since.
since.
So,
Yeah.
and I don't blame you. They're awesome.
No more Matchbox cars after Nintendo. Yeah.
I would say, I want my favorite memory would be we got a PlayStation, and I woke up super early the next day to come back downstairs. I was living in Indiana. We had a basement. Go down to the basement to play. I was like, I don't know when that came out. It must have been maybe 11 or 12, 13, 14, maybe somewhere around there. And my dad had stayed up all night long and was playing the game Driver. I showed up at I came down at like 7:30, 8 in the morning, and he's just in front of the TV. He's been sitting there all night long. He played, and he goes, here you go.
That's exactly what his dad sounds
my
like too.
gosh.
It's the best.
And then just walked upstairs and slept most of the day.
That's awesome.
That was a good memory.
I had I had one time my parents said, okay, you've got, like, they gave me a number or something of presents, right? And then when I got down there, I unwrapped presents. They were like, how many was that? And I was like, one less than what you said. Like, and so it was later on in the day too, right, when they reminded me. So underneath my bed was a Kawasaki like motorcycle that had like the gyro in it. It came from like Air Hogs or whatever, and it had like little rider on it. You know what I'm talking? Well,
Yeah.
you started it like that, but then you could get on a remote and you could like.
They pulled out the big guns. Yeah.
Super cool.
I was like,
Wow,
oh
Big
man.
Christmas.
It was like everything else was like socks and stuff too. Like that was the big gift of the year, right?
You had your own Red Ryder BB gun story, basically. Yeah.
That's
You know
awesome.
how you
Yeah.
become an adult though is the Christmas where you get socks and you're actually excited about
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
Functional
Which is
thing.
every
or like
year now.
kitchen utensils.
Right? Or like
Yeah.
rent or tuition or something like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Well, that'd be
It's
nice.
like cash. That'd be really
It's like
nice.
Target gift card, sweet.
Yeah, right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You can get anything with this.
Yeah. Let's do this. Is Christmas always on a Sunday?
It's a great. I mean, that's a reasonable question.
It is.
No.
What kind of
No.
Christmas does this person have? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you drink all week, it could be.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. It's like I guess it's to them. It's like a Labor Day kind of a thing.
I feel
you know?
like Christmas can be any day if you have
Ooh.
Christmas in your heart.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Gross.
so yes.
Every Sunday is Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Just be a lunatic and tell people it's Christmas every day. And there you go.
Yeah.
That's how you should live your life now.
Were you guys Christmas people growing up, or like Christmas Eve people?
Hell yeah.
Or like, all of it.
I
Both
mean,
of it?
not necessarily the religious side of it
Right,
or
right.
anything, but like
Right.
the fun family time aspect of it, always great. So many cool traditions and stuff.
How deep did you guys go into Santa? Do you remember?
Balls deep, huh?
What are you talking about?
I mean-
Santa's still real.
yeah, right.
Still around?
Yeah, dude,
He'll
I
be
mean-
at my house in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because we always
Yeah.
opened presents on Christmas Eve. And then, so Santa was always kind of weird. Because we'd have a stocking in the morning of like, but it'd always have like gum or something or
Oh,
candy canes.
Lifesavers.
You always
So-
did it on the eve?
Yeah,
How
for a
come?
while. And I
That's
don't know,
interesting.
just
That's just
when
the
the
way
family
to do
did it, yeah.
Is that like the whole family, like extended family
Yeah,
too, or
I mean,
was it?
as much as how whatever our family was? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it kind of sucked because at Christmas Eve you get these sweet toys and then it's like, okay, time for bed. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was staying up all night.
Then your parents stay up all night and play with them.
Yeah, right.
The Game Boy that you didn't get until the next year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. We'll give it to him then.
All right. Now, is it insensitive to send atheist Christmas cards? Could it come across as gloating?
What? Oh my God. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what kind of atheist you're talking to.
Yeah. And what kind of Christmas card? I mean, not every
Yeah.
card is like,
I love the
may the Lord bless
yeah.
you. It's just like, sometimes it's like,
the assumption that like Christmas you don't get Christmas.
Yeah,
so
you don't
I
get it.
don't want to just like yeah.
I don't want to gloat about Christmas because you don't get one because
Yeah.
you don't believe in Christmas.
Are you
I
putting
guess.
that in the card? Are you writing that as
Yeah.
your?
I guess Merry Xmas maybe say.
So what do you think?
Man, this one's really stumping me. I would have to say no. I don't think it's gloating.
I don't think so.
Have you ever met an atheist who wasn't so sure? Like, to be an atheist, you really have to be really sure that God doesn't exist. So like, if you're that sure about it, then I feel like a lot of atheists, and I know a ton who are like best friends and whatever, who are just like so in your face about it that it's like if you send a Christmas card to them, they're gonna be the ones contacting you saying like, well, actually, did you know?
Oh,
those
gosh.
people suck.
Yeah.
Just don't send the card at all.
I mean, I am. I mean, I would consider myself one, but I don't even think about it or talk about it. I love Christmas.
I just want to celebrate.
I'd just
Yeah,
be I'd
Plenty
be
of
safe to
atheists
send out a happy
celebrate
holidays
Christmas.
card. To
Yeah, there you
everyone.
go. There you go.
I'd be more concerned about sending a card that said Merry Christmas to someone who, celebrated Hanukkah
There you go.
than sending a card to
Yeah.
an
I mean,
atheist.
I would take a happy Hanukkah card. I would do the 8 nights. I would take whatever. I would go to the church or temple. I'm in. I'm in for it all. That's great. It's a great season.
You
But,
gonna wear those
I would
slippers?
be offended if someone didn't also get me a birthday card because my birthday is 2 days before Christmas.
Oh no.
And
no.
starting next year, I'm going to be celebrating it in the middle of the summer. So
Okay, yeah. I mean,
celebrating half birthdays instead of your
Right.
actual birthday.
hey, those December
Yeah.
birthdays.
Is
December
your-
birthdays aren't
yeah.
easy, right?
Yeah, they're not.
Is your birthday always on Sunday?
My birthday is every day of the goddamn year.
You have a birth,
Fuck yeah.
You heard it here
month.
first,
The
folks.
attitude.
All right, Joe, one more. I used Clorox disinfectant wipes on my butt to clean it, and my butt got warm of a few seconds, then stopped, and I washed it out with soap and water. Should I be worried?
How is that holiday related? Did this happen on Christmas?
Yes.
Good point.
It's like Die Hard is like, is this a Christmas question?
Yeah.
Is this not a
This is-
Christmas
yeah,
question?
Exactly.
It happens on Christmas, but it doesn't pertain to anything.
It was pine smelling disinfectant.
Well,
Does that really happen?
I can't say I've ever done this, friend, but it sounds like you washed it, so I think you're good. It also sounds like you may have confused it with an icy hot patch because it got hot like it did, and now it's not. I don't know, but that would be a bummer too.
Just a light bleaching. Some people pay for that.
Yeah, some people pay a lot of money for that kind of thing. So I think if you can do it with a Clorox wipe, then go ahead.
Excellent. Well, happy holidays, friends.
Yes.
Matt, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
We
thanks
should,
for
well,
having me
on Vinyl Media, and there are other local businesses that have the playlists
Yeah.
going on. Let's throw some names out there. Let's promote. Go to these places where they're supporting.
Well, we are redoing our platform right now, so
Okay.
I'm focusing on the merch first, and then
Gotcha,
we
good.
have our platform coming out in February.
Well, just how
Awesome.
about a place that you like to go anyway? Let's
Oh
start-
my God, I love shopping local. I just love shopping local. I love going to Hop Dotty.
Shopping local is getting burgers. That's,
I'm
saying
in.
that.
I'm in
Rather
for
than
that.
going
I'm going
somewhere else,
shopping.
P. Terry's is great too if you want
Yeah.
a cheaper alternative.
Probably gonna get a P. Terry's
Went
burger
there
after
last
this.
night.
Yeah, I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna go there right now.
Yeah, it was great.
Rowing Dock.
Nice, yeah.
Southside Flying Pizza.
Ooh, I love South.
Have a playlist out there at all these places would be cool.
Did you realize, Matt, you're such an experienced shopper?
I know. I didn't realize I was a shopaholic. Yeah.
All these places your name.
Austin's such a unique place because I don't think I've ever been to another city with such local love. Like instead of big box chains like you see in Houston and San Antonio and Dallas, you have little tiny stores that do pretty well. Kendra Scott, even though they've gotten really big, is a local store, and then so is Torchy's.
So is
and-
Yeti. So is, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
technically.
yeah. Eddie V's,
mm-hmm.
really cool. Yeah.
Dig it. Shop at those places.
Shop
This
local.
is probably the last episode of the year.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
This is the
So-
Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Christmas, New Year's, all of it into one. So
Should we say it? Should we say, see you next year?
See
Do
you
we-
next year,
Yeah.
folks. I said it for the first time the other day. I was super excited.
Oh, man. This early?
This early.
Yeah.
I saw the person who Chelsea who does my hair. So like I was like I won't see her for another 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So like see you next year.
Oh, nice. you were the first one this year.
Did
I
you
think
give,
so. I was
did you give her
excited.
that smile like
broke
I'm
the
being so
seal.
clever right now?
No.
'Cause-
She said it. She said it, and then I said it, and it was like, oh God, why are we saying this? Like already? Damn it! I'm already tired of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, once you
Good.
break the seal, you can't stop.
Nope.
So
So see you next year,
we'll
folks.
see you next year.
Yep.
Thanks for listening this year. Thank you to all of our beautiful guests who've been on. Thank you to Hoosier.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great year for the podcast.
It has. So,
A lot of- We picked it up this year.
Mm-hmm.
it was a real.
Thank
Next
you
year,
guys
out
for
of the
doing
park.
what you do. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
But thanks for listening. Thanks, Nat, for coming on Vinyl Media. Support local merch. Support local stores. Support local burgers. All right.
Yes.
Happy New Year.